Hey there, fellow problem solvers and coding enthusiasts. Welcome back to our quest for unraveling the mysteries of programming and algorithms. Today, we have a thrilling puzzle to solve, a challenge that'll sharpen your coding skills and get those neurons firing. Picture this, you have a list of numbers, and somewhere in that list, a single number is repeating itself exactly k times. Your mission, to find that elusive number. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack, but we've got the tools to make it happen. Think of it as a thrilling treasure hunt where your coding skills are the map and K is the hidden gem that you're looking for. Whether you're a seasoned developer looking for a challenge or a curious beginner eager to unlock new skills, this video is your treasure trove of knowledge. Are you ready to embark on this journey with us? We'll explore strategies, dive into code, and conquer this challenge together. By the end of this video, you'll not only have the solution, but also a deeper understanding of problem solving when it comes to programming. Without further ado, let's jump into the adventure of finding the first element to repeat k times. Our quest begins now. So this is a great step for us. We're moving past sorting algorithms, and we've moved on to our very first real question, which is how do we find the first element in an array to appear k times? Now, what does that mean? So basically, we're going to be given an array and a value k, which is our frequency, and our output will be a element in input that appears k times or more, comma, first. So basically, we may be given a 1, a 2, a 3, a 5, a 2, a 5, and a 5. And let's say our k is equal to 1. That means the first element that appears one time will be this 1, and we will output a 1. Let's say our k is equal to 2. We have 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 5, and our second 2, we will output a 2. And finally, if our k is a 3, we have 1, 1, 1, 1, our second 1, our second 5, our third 5. So our output would be 5. And of course, if k is equal to 4, none of these appear 4 times. We'll just output a negative 1. So what is great about this is we're going to be using a special thing called a hash map. This is a data structure that is only scary in theory. We build it up in our minds as a scary thing. You might see YouTubers complain about it. You might see these programmers talk about using a hash map for everything. It's very useful. What is a hash map? It's basically, especially when it comes to JavaScript, you know objects, not objects, objects, which is this. You might see this. We'll have let's say, Jacob, that's me. I have the value of 1. We'll say monkey, he has the value of 5. And no, hippo has a value of 10. So that is an object. Basically, if we look for the word Jacob, we'll get a number 1 back. If we look for the word monkey in here, same thing. Basically, a hash map is the same thing. So what we do is we create it, doing it like this. For example, I could say let value map equal to a new map. So what we have to do here is we use these keywords here, set. We have get, we have delete, very good ones. Basically, this one is how we get the value associated with the key. Set is the same thing as adding it to the object. And deleting it is, of course, deleting it. Pretty straightforward. These are some good stuff. There's some other ones, but for now, we're going to just stick with these 3 ones for this one here. Hash maps are great. You'll use them a lot in your interviews and when you're solving problems. So how do we do this? Basically, we want to init our function and pass in an array and a k. After that, we want to initialize a new map of number frequencies. And from there, we will loop through all elements in array. Add or increase element size. Well, not size, but frequency value. And then check if frequency value is equal to k. If yes, then we will return the value. If no, we will continue. And at the end, if we get all the way through our loop and we do not return a value, we will return the wonderful number of -1. Yeah, pretty straightforward. And for this one, there are two ways to do it. We'll do it a less proficient way and then move on to a more proficient way where we try to optimize it. Yeah. So our pros, it's fast, it's easy. Cons, it's hard if you don't know hash maps. Well, it's not hard, but it just takes a long time. Time complexity, we'd have to cycle through every single element in our array. That is the worst case scenario. For example, if k is 3, we do not know if an element appears 3 times until we get to the very last element in the array. So our time complexity would be big O of n representing the number of elements inside the original array that we're given. And our space complexity will be O of, I'll let you guess, will be O of n, because if every element inside of this array is unique, and we have to add it to our map, and we do not reach a k, if, for example, this k is 8, and all these numbers are unique, they would create a new unique value inside of our map, which would, in that case, be O of n. Pretty straightforward, I think. And let's go ahead and get started. Basically, we have our function, and we're going to call it find first element appearing k times. And inside, we will pass it an array, just like we said up here, pass in an array and a k. We'll move down here. Next up, we want to move on to line 10, initialize a new map of number frequency. So how do we do that? We say let frequency map equal to a new map. Pretty easy. And we'll move on to line 12 to 16, loop through all elements in an array. So we'll say for const num in array. That is another way of doing a for loop. We do it for every single element of this array until we break out of it. For const num in array, we're going to, of course, I'm going to show you a less optimal way of doing it, and then we'll move on to a more optimized version as far as lines of code go. First up, we want to check if frequency map has, this is how we see if it has it. If frequency map has our num, then what we want to do is we want to increase it. And how do we do that? We say frequency map dot set, and here we pass in our num, and then over here we pass in our original value. And how do we do that? We use the get. So frequency map dot get num, and we will do +1. Let's see. Else, we will say frequency map dot set, and we'll do num, and this will be our first appearance, so we do 1 here. And finally, we'll do an if check. We'll say if frequency map dot get. So this is how we check the number. Get our num is equal to k. Then we need to return our num. And if that is wrong, we have to say return -1. So basically the idea is we initialize our function with an array in k. We initialize our frequency map using this wonderful thing called a map. It's basically a hash map. And then from 31 to 36, 31 to 41 is our for loop. So for every num in our array until we break out, of course, we say if the frequency map has it, it is inside this map, then we say we set it to increase by 1, else we want to set the num to 1. So this would basically be, this would be the same as num of 1. It would be like that inside of our map object. And then we check, we use the get. If this get is equal to k, then we return the num. Let's do a quick test. Let test1 equal, let's see, let's grab our original, we'll take this one up here. We'll put it down here. So that's our first one. So we'll do console.log and we'll pass in first element appearing k times. We'll pass in our test1 and our k will be 1. And of course, this should be 1. That is what we said before. Next up, we want to pass in a k of 2. So we'll go, should be 2. Oops, not 12, 2. And our last one here would be 3. Would be this 5 because it appears 3 times. The first should be a 5, and we'll pass in a 7. And no number appears 7 times, so it should be -1. All right, we're going to run our test and see if this works. Bloop, bloop, bloop. 0 should be 1. -1 should be 2. -1 should be 5. -1 should be -1. Interesting. All right, what is going on here? If frequency map dot has the num, frequency map dot get our num +1. Okay, that makes sense. Equal to k. Our k is there. Okay, k is 1. What is going on here? Okay. So 0 should be 1. 0 should be 1. Why are we passing back a 0? There's no 0 to pass back. Get num. Okay, our num. 1 second. All right, let's do this. Console.log num. Okay. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Constant num. Classic me. Sorry about that. I just made a mistake. Yeah. So make sure you use of instead of in. I always get those confused. That's fine. So basically over here we have 1 should be 1. Well, let me reset this and run it again. So here 1 should be 1, 2 should be 2, 5 should be 5, -1 should be -1. Whoopsies. Always make sure you double check your code. Yeah. And let's go ahead and I said we can make this look better, and we will. So we don't need to do a check here. We actually don't. So we could do this. We'll get rid of this. Bye-bye. And we will do this. Frequency map dot set, and we'll put in num, and in here we'll put frequency map dot get our num, and if it does not have it, it does not exist, we will pass in a 0 and +1. So the idea here is that we set the num, we use frequency map dot get on the num. If it does not exist, we will pass in a 0 +1, and yeah, that gets rid of our if-else statement, which is pretty nice. And let's go ahead and check it again, make sure it still works. 1 should be 1, 2 should be 2, 5 should be 5, -1 should be -1. Pretty great. Yeah. I think it's pretty straightforward for this question. Again, make sure you focus on learning a bit more about map. Do not make the mistake I did of using in instead of of. Can be a little confusing sometimes. And let's see. Yeah, make sure you test and practice a lot. Go through this again, follow along, and in the future, try and write it out yourself. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I'm trying to help out everyone, trying to get back to the self-taught community, and I hope I added a little bit of knowledge to you. And yeah, have a great day.